Welcome to Within the Frame, where we bring the most pressing issues across the globe into focus. I'm Kim Mok-yeon. The South Korea-New Zealand relationship is entering a pivotal chapter. As the two countries mark the 10th anniversary of their free trade agreement, they've also agreed to elevate ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership, laying the groundwork for expanded cooperation across trade, diplomacy, and regional security. All eyes are now on Gyeongju, where Korea is set to host the 2025 APEC Economic Leaders Meeting. And for both nations, it's a timely platform to advance shared goals from clean energy and inclusive growth to gender equality and digital innovation. And with growing global uncertainty, trusted middle powers like South Korea and New Zealand are being called to step up. In this exclusive conversation, we're joined by Dawn Bennett, New Zealand's ambassador to South Korea, to talk about the summit, the evolving partnership, and what's next on the horizon. A big welcome.
Kia ora. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure, too. Now, let's start right away. So the APEC, the South Korea has been hosting key meetings ahead of the main event in Gyeongju, and with New Zealand, of course, being involved. I must ask, how are preparations going so far?
Thanks for the question. Well, New Zealand is a big supporter of APEC. We always have been. And we're a big supporter of Korea's host year. And we're very keen to work together with Korea to make this year a success. So, so far, Korea has announced an agenda that's focused on inclusive AI and the demographic shifts that we're all facing, and also the opportunities of culture and creative industries. So that actually is a very forward-looking agenda that aligns really well with our own priorities for the region. So we think things are going very well, and we're working hard with Korea to make the year a success. And for example, so far, the embassy steps in behind our delegations when they come here. So, for example, earlier this year, I was in Gyeongju with our Minister of Trade, the Honourable Todd McClay, who was here for the Trade Ministers meeting. And around the same time, I also stepped up to head the delegation at the Education Ministers meeting. And then just last week, I was in Busan with our Energy Minister, the Honourable Simon Watts, who was here for Energy Ministerial meeting. And every time one of these delegations comes, the whole New Zealand embassy team steps in to support them. It's a real team effort.
Wow, so New Zealand's active involvement in these preparations are already notable. Now, we are aware that this leaders meeting, APEC, is going to be held in Gyeongju, and it's a city of a long, 1,000 years of history in Korea. What does the city actually mean to you as a participant?
Well, as it happens, I love Gyeongju. It was the first place I went in my own leisure time after I arrived here in Korea to take up my posting. I love the deep historical connection and also the deep cultural ties that are there. And I was again there just this week, actually, the beginning of this week, to see the APEC preparations, which are going very well. I was received by the mayor of Gyeongju and also the governor of Gyeongsangbuk-do province to talk about the preparations and how they were going. And I think that, a summit for APEC is a very meaningful opportunity for important policy outcomes. And I think having those discussions in this place of such rich historical and cultural connections is going to be inspiring for all of the participants. And then a summit is also an opportunity for leaders to make real personal connections. Personally, I think with the backdrop of Gyeongju and its historical and cultural ties, all of the connections between our leaders, those relationships they forge are going to be more meaningful than ever.
Right, this choice of a very historic city definitely adds a lot of value to the meeting. Now let's look at the big picture, Ambassador. So protectionism, of course, is on the rise lately, and APEC's mission of regional integration feels even more urgent lately. What role do you think this summit could play, and why is South Korea's latest hosting so significant?
That's a great question. Global protectionism, unfortunately, is on the rise these days. Multilateralism is facing real pressure. APEC's role in this context has never been more critical. APEC is all about, and it always has been all about, open dialogue, inclusive growth, and regional economic integration. And APEC 2025 in Gyeongju is a perfect setting, I think, to reaffirm those APEC values. And APEC's core strengths are about building economic opportunities, being an incubator of ideas, and also achieving consensus. So APEC 2025 will be an opportunity to reinforce those things that are particularly key right now in this global setting. I think it'll be an opportunity also to reinforce the importance of rules-based trade, cross-border cooperation, and connectivity generally. So Korean leadership in this year and their focus on these emerging challenges that we talked about before, AI governance, demographic shifts, and opportunities in culture and creative industries, makes for a really forward-looking agenda that speaks to the moment right now. I think it's all about navigating uncertainties together with a shared purpose.
Right, so it's going to be a very important event. Now, staying with the themes that you've mentioned, lately at the Women and Economy Forum, you've spoke about gender equality and demographic shifts. It's also one of the themes of this APEC. Why is this issue so important right now?
Yes, you're right. I did speak at that event. It was a great honour to talk there about promoting gender equality in the context of demographic shifts. Basically, demographic shifts are happening across the Asia-Pacific region. It's a real challenge for all of our economies that we all have to meet. But at the same time as we meet them, I think it's important to remember there's also an opportunity, for example, as we address these challenges, to also empower everyone, including women. So I think that gender equality has to be at the heart of how we address demographic shifts. Women have to be given the same opportunities in education, jobs, leadership, and also a more fair sharing of caregiving responsibilities. I think that if we do this, not only does it strengthen families, but also communities and economies. It's not only the right thing to do, it's also essential for sustainable growth. So I think I really personally appreciate Korea's leadership in putting this up there on the APEC agenda. And I think that Gyeongju could be a real opportunity for the region to come together to tackle these demographic challenges while also having gender equality at the core of any solution.
Right. So it's really amazing that social inclusion is also being discussed alongside, economic issues as well. Now, New Zealand, we are aware that it has hosted APEC twice in the past. From that experience, what kind of advice would you give to South Korea for a successful leaders meeting?
Right, yes, we have. We hosted APEC in Auckland in 1999, and then we hosted again in 2021, and that hosting year ended up being entirely virtual because it was right in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. I think the lessons that we learned from those hosting experiences were that APEC success is not all about just the formal outcomes. It's also about setting the right tone, fostering inclusivity, and staying adaptable to the moment. So APEC thrives when economies feel heard and connected, and the connection is very important, both personal and digital. So Korea's focus on its three areas of focus during its agenda, I think, are already setting the right tone. And with the additional efforts that Korea is making to establish connections between leaders and, for example, the youth movement and meaningful opportunities for engagement between leaders and business, I think that the setting is really ripe with the backdrop of Gyeongju's historical and cultural significance for a really impactful APEC. I think it's going to be a summit to remember.
Well, let's hope so. Thank you for the valuable tips, Ambassador. Now let's shift to bilateral ties. So this year marks the 10th anniversary of the South Korea-New Zealand FTA. How has this agreement reshaped, the trade between the two countries?
Yes, you're right. 2025 is a real milestone year for our bilateral relations between Korea and New Zealand. It's been 10 years since the entry into force of our Korea-New Zealand FTA in 2015. Now, in that 10 years, the trade between us has more than doubled, and Korea is now New Zealand's 5th largest trading partner, which shows the importance of the free trade agreement to our relationship. But it's not all about the numbers, it's also about future opportunities. So for example, just last year, Korean consumers under the FTA gained the opportunity to access New Zealand blueberries and also a wider range of dairy products than they had had access to before. And in return, Korean exporters gained the opportunity to send their mandarins to New Zealand. So this sort of new access shows that it's a constantly evolving and alive agreement that continues to deliver real tangible benefits to both sides. And there is a lot of opportunity for us to do more. We're currently talking to Korea about exploring the possibility of maybe upgrading the agreement to keep it modern and cutting edge. And there are some other areas where we could potentially develop closer ties. We have a very complementary partnership. Korea has great strengths in technology and advanced manufacturing. And New Zealand has expertise in premium food and beverage and also sustainability and tourism. So there's a lot of opportunity for new growth, and I'm excited now to see what the next 10 years will bring.
Wow, right. So let's hope for, further developments in the area for the benefit of both countries. Now, in talking about that, recently in August, we hear that the two countries actually reaffirmed plans to upgrade ties to a comprehensive strategic partnership. So what kind of steps can we actually take to expand cooperation under that framework?
Yes, that's right. Last year when our Prime Minister came to Korea, our two leaders committed to elevating the partnership to a comprehensive strategic partnership. Now, we see this in many ways as actually just affirming the level of partnership that we already have. We feel that the depth and breadth of the relationship is already there at a comprehensive strategic partnership level, based on shared values, mutual respect, and a clear forward-looking vision for the Indo-Pacific, which we both share. So this is really a process to sort of formalize our relationship, which is already at that level. But it's not just symbolic. It is a strategic opportunity to future-proof the relationship. And there's a lot of areas in which we could do more. For example, AI, digital innovation, and space. And we also have a lot of shared alignment on climate action and sustainability. So, for example, renewable energy, carbon markets, Antarctic research. These are all areas in which working together we could have a real impact. And then we should also remember the people-to-people connections. So education, tourism, youth mobility, these are all opportunities to sort of build a really long-term future understanding between our societies, which leads to ever closer links.
Right. So this latest development to a strategic partnership would definitely, broaden the scope of cooperation between the two countries. Now, building on this, you've highlighted clean tech and renewables as also promising areas. So what kind of projects or discussions are actually underway under these sectors?
Yes, clean tech and renewable energy are central basically to both Korea and New Zealand, and how each of us can grow sustainably apart and also together. So we each bring a lot to the table. New Zealand has incredible natural energy resources, and we also have a strong track record in clean tech innovation. And Korea, of course, is a global leader in advanced manufacturing and also in green industry development. So there's a lot we can do together there. There's already a lot of conversations happening, for example, around renewable energy infrastructure investment, and we're keen to build on those conversations. And the actual form or shape of this further work together could take a variety of shapes. It could be, for example, joint research, or pilot projects, or commercial partnerships. But in any of those areas, we're very keen to continue to develop those conversations.
Right, so it sounds very promising. Now, Ambassador, let's take a step forward beyond economy. So South Korea and New Zealand are trusted middle powers in this Indo-Pacific region. So lately, security challenges are definitely rising. How can we deepen cooperation, not just in trade, but also in diplomacy and security as well?
Yeah, thanks for this question. It's a really important one. New Zealand and Korea are very like-minded. We have been for a long time. We both share a strong commitment to democratic values and also to an international rules-based order. As things are looking more and more unsettled in the world, we're both working together very hard, not only on our bilateral relationship, but also working together in regional and multilateral organisations to advance our joint interests together. So for example, as well as the big and obvious ones like the United Nations or the WTO, we are also both ASEAN dialogue partners, and we also both work together, for example, in the Pacific Islands Forum. So these are areas in which we can continue to cooperate to help pass our message out to the world and try and shape things the way we would like to see them go. We are also trusted defence and security partners. So New Zealand has had New Zealand Defence Force personnel in Korea for decades, actually, as part of the United Nations Command. That's something we've committed to a long time ago. We're still committed to that. Right now, in addition, we actually have a platoon of New Zealand Defence Force personnel on the peninsula, training here for joint training exercises with the Korean Armed Forces and also with US forces that are based here.
Wow, so a lot of efforts are ongoing, and it seems this cooperation would also deepen in this diplomacy and security areas as well. Now, Ambassador, before we let you go, let me ask you a question on culture, excuse me. So you've shown real enthusiasm for South Korea's culture. How do you see K-culture serving as a bridge, between New Zealand and South Korea? And are there any embassy initiatives to promote such exchanges?
Yes, that's right. I have made no secret of the fact that I'm a big fan of K-pop, K-drama. I was even before I came here, and I continue to pursue those interests. But I'm not the only one. In New Zealand, K-culture is very popular. So K-pop, K-drama, K-beauty, K-food, K-culture, K-everything. It's very popular in New Zealand, and I think that is a sign of the success of the phenomenon of the Hallyu wave. As a result of this, it means that particularly young generations in New Zealand are more aware of Korea and Korean culture than I think their ancestors ever were. So there is growing knowledge in New Zealand about Korea and growing interest in coming here to explore further. What I'm very interested in as the New Zealand ambassador to Korea is equally developing Korean interest in New Zealand. Now, generally, I've found since I've been here that Koreans are already very interested in and aware of New Zealand culture, but they're always very keen to see more. So as an example, we recently had an initiative where at the National Museum of Korea, in the margins of an exhibition they have called Mana Moana, all about Oceania, we organised a performance of professional Maori singers and dancers to do a cultural performance there. It was hugely successful. We had more than 3,000 people came along. It was a lot of Korean people who took time out of their day to come and watch that performance. It was extremely successful, and I hope we get the opportunity to do more of those sorts of things.
Right, and I will take my time to, look for more of those events. So I hope this kinds of growing interest between the two countries' cultures would grow moving forward. Ambassador, thank you so much for making time for us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, and for your insights today. We look forward to seeing, more of Korea and New Zealand continue to strengthen their partnership in vast areas.
Kia ora. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
감사합니다.
And that'll be all from us on Within the Frame tonight. Be sure to tune in again next time as we continue to explore the stories that matter. Until then, stay informed and engaged.